Hi, everybody. My name's Colin Mayhew. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm hoping that everybody can see my screen that I am trying to broadcast. You should be seeing a video of my face and also the front slide that says Power Apps. How to identify Power Apps opportunities and prepare your pitch. If you can't tell, this is our first time using GoToWebinar, and I'm scared, but we're going to get through this all together. So if you have questions as we go, I highly recommend that you use the questions tab. We're going to try and answer those some as we go, but if we miss them, then we'll have them and we'll be able to follow up with you and make sure that we're able to cover everything and give you those answers that you're clamoring for. So today we have two guest speakers with us. I'm going to introduce them in just a moment. Let me just move my slides forward and make sure that functionality is working. Okay. And so just a quick look at the agenda today. The idea is we're going to start with why should we be focusing on Power Apps? Why is this an opportunity? Why should you care? We're going to talk a little bit about how to spot potential prospects, candidates for this kind of approach in your customer list. We'll talk about how to prepare your pitch, and then you're going to have a guest speaker from Intelbyte. Alfred and Ogo are going to speak with you a little bit about how they are doing some similar work to take Power Apps to market. And we're going to talk a bit about the practical bits of turning your current strengths into a Power Platform practice. And you're going to hear from the masters, the guys who have done a fantastic job of combining the MSP world with the project consulting world, especially with Power Platform. You're going to hear from Preston at Convverge, and they're going to hopefully be an inspirational story and a fantastic case study in the industry. We'll have time for Q&A, but feel free to pepper us with questions as we go. I think it's always good to know what you're thinking, so that we can make sure that you have that we're going to get to everything you want to know. So very quickly, we've got the Sherweb team. I'm going to be handling the slides. That's me with shorter hair, and then you'll have Stephanie, our product manager. She's going to be on as well. Randa and Nick are our product marketing geniuses, and so they will be hopefully fielding some of your questions, letting us know that we have some stuff to answer, and we will make sure to follow up with you if there's anything we can't answer today. Then our guest speakers are Preston and Ogo. Preston from Convverge and Ogo from Intelbyte. Save tons of questions for them. I think you're going to be really interested in hearing their stories. So we're going to start with a little bit on why should we focus on Power Apps. I think some of you who have joined this call will be a little bit familiar with the story around Power Apps and why it matters. But I'm going to give you a bit of a refresher and hopefully some helpful insight. This, you can tell, is a Microsoft slide because it's so beautifully animated. So here's my perspective. These are some high-level notions that we're going to be dealing with. We're looking at business uncertainty. Well, what does that actually mean to you? The expectation is you need to work with what you have. You can't go out and buy a new system and commit to a huge new implementation right now. Things are just too uncertain. We don't know if that's a spend we can make right now. We can't increase OpEx. We can't necessarily get the CapEx. You just need to figure out how to do with what you can. But at the same time, your customers expect more. They expect everything to be fun, fast, and easy, because I think, as digital transformation enters the consumer world, it is just harder and harder to understand why things can't make sense, be logical, and be wrapped up in a nice UI. And if I can order a hot water bottle with a unicorn on it from China and it gets here in a week and a half, I just don't understand why time tracking has to be so complicated, for example. So people just don't have the patience for things that don't work or that are difficult anymore, especially as they're having to do more with less. So on top of this macro trend of people wanting more flexibility, people expect to be able to work from anywhere. And that doesn't just mean at home. That means, I expect to be able to check my sales results at a gas station in, rural Washington on my way, driving from one place to another place, so that I can hop on a call at short notice and help a customer with something that's going on, even though I'm out of pocket. We expect people to be available at any time, and we need to make it possible for them to do the things that they need to do. So hybrid work culture is more than just working from your in-laws basement like I am. It's about being able to open up your phone or your laptop at any time and solve a customer problem. This is the classic NASCAR slide, but I think it's very directionally interesting. One thing I would caution you is don't look at these logos and think, okay, sure, the Toyota and 3M are, manufacturing use cases that use Power Platform. Sure. Yeah. That doesn't necessarily apply to my clients. The truth is that efficiency is highly scalable, but small businesses need to be competitive in terms of efficiency to compete with the big guys like this. They may not have the same economies of scale, but every little bit is going to help them compete in a larger market. So keep that in mind. Your clients are always looking for their edge. So make sure that you're helping them, right? Sometimes your customers are going to go for best in breed for everything, but what they end up with is something that looks a little bit like this. You've got all these best in breed systems, and then you're juggling a lot of APIs and different kinds of connectors to try and just keep up and have some kind of united data estate. Sometimes you need a giant BI project and a constant string of updates to a data warehouse just to get good reporting. You'll have large companies that can't even tell you how many people they have working for them because they've got they can't get an accurate headcount report. And it truly is some of these basics that people are losing when they have disconnected systems. Microsoft is really trying to fix all that and be, whatever you're using, you have this central data repository where everything can come together and help you create efficiencies. So Power Platform is a lot more than Power Apps, but we're going to focus on Power Apps today. But do remember that it's basically, if you can use PowerPoint and if you can use Excel, then you are 2/3 of the way to being a Power Apps developer. Even a knucklehead with an English literature degree like me can make Power Apps, can design flashy dashboards, and can make Power Automate flows that make people's lives easier. I've been doing all these things just off the side of my desk because I learn about these things all day, and I think, geez Louise, we should really just be taking advantage of this. There's no reason that processes need to be disconnected. There's no reason that the data that you collect should be disconnected from your systems of record. Get it all in there. And so really think about it that way. Think about your don't just think about the IT people at your clients. Think about the super users, the people who have the process design thinking and the basic skills to collaborate with you to make very specific business solutions for their exact needs. That's what the Power Platform allows you to do, all the way up to building chatbots. You know what I mean? You don't need to create a chat GPT. You can train a chatbot without knowing any code. So this is all very abstract. Let's make sure that when you're looking for prospects that you're asking the right questions. One of the things to remember when you're prospecting for Power Platform business is that it actually doesn't really matter what industry your client's in. It doesn't matter how big they are. What really matters are the business challenges that they're encountering. And if you have that business problem solving approach, you can always find an application for something for a tool set this broad. It just depends on, what's getting in the way. So this is an approach that I like to use. This requires nothing except just go look at what your clients got licensed, right? Start asking yourself questions about what they're probably having problems with. So if I'm looking at this customer, I see they've got 120 users. So think about a company with 120 employees, 120 employees. So I know that they all have business standards. So they're probably they're probably office workers for the most part. You know what I mean? This isn't just an exchange online, just a mailbox kind of thing. They've got some of the apps. They're probably using some level of, they're probably in the office to some degree. So 120 people, in my opinion, that's kind of when things start to need to be systematized. And you can't rely on everybody to be properly communicating with each other and ensuring that nothing ever gets lost or confused or miscommunicated. This is when you start to need systems of record. You need processes that are smarter than individuals are. So you can probably ask them about data loss. You can ask them about processes that are getting delayed. Where are those bottlenecks happening? And every client to some degree is going to have some kind of CRM need, right? Everybody's got clients or customers or even for charities, donors, people that they need to be in touch with and they need to have a constant relationship with. So what are those CRM needs? That's where I would start. A company this big, they may be on a light CRM and they're probably starting to chafe under it a little bit. They're probably having some problems if they are using a light CRM. So that is one to ask about. That is often a very effective conversation for, starting that off. And beautiful thing about Power Apps is that you can do light CRM processes, and then you can start to build out a use case for something bigger, and then win more projects along the way. So looking at a different one, we see here 33 of premium and standard. Okay, 66 people, starting to get a little big, not quite as unwieldy as our previous client, but they've got a bunch of exchange online plan one as well. So, they've got a fairly big, they're getting a bigger and bigger staff, and they've got one Power BI Pro license. Ooh, that always makes me think, what are they doing with that Power BI Pro? Is there an opportunity to build on this interest in DIY, on low code? They've got somebody there who's interested in data. Let's go investigate. How are they using data today? If we look, they're a construction company. So they've got folks in the field, they've got folks in the office. If they're using Excel to manage quotes, they've got a limited sales process. All of a sudden, there's a lot that you can do to help them fix their processes. You can start looking at Power Automate to make sure that documents and quotes are getting routed the right way. And you can start looking at Power Apps for maybe some of those field folks who need some light data input of some kind. And, once you get into that, it's really easy to start having a conversation around, say, Business Central. You probably need a full ERP. You're a construction company. Maybe you need field service. You can grow from there. I always enjoy this. I invite anybody on this call to set up a meeting with me, and I will help you go through your list. I will use my Power BI magic. This is a real company, but I gave them a fictitious name. this is all real though. This is a professional services, IT, and big data. They have a pretty low M365 spend for what we're seeing in terms of their seat count and what kind of company they are, you know? So I'm thinking there might be an opportunity here to help them be more productive and, you know, communicate better with each other, collaborate better. I would say, you know, if you're a big data company, I'm surprised you've only got about, I guess it's 15 Power BI Pro users. You start to wonder, is there an opportunity to help them adopt DIY approaches, low code approaches to their data? So I think you know, if this is a professional services company, can we help them to increase their number of billable hours, right? That's probably that's probably one of their big goals, help them. They want to bill more. So let's automate some of the lower value tasks like requirements gathering, task management. Let's help them shorten their sales process so that they can get more, spend more time on billable hours projects. So I wonder, you know, I start to have ideas around Power BI and Power Pages to help them deliver a big data insights to their clients on demand, something they can even start using Power Platform to sort of simplify their offering and standardize what they're putting out there to their clients. So you start looking at it, and you can start using your imagination about what questions to ask and where they might be seeing opportunities. So we also get propensity lists from Microsoft. I highly recommend book some time with me and your Sherweb rep, and we can go through. They give under this will be your name here. They give a list of your customers who are very high propensity for Dynamics and Power Platform. They have some really cool AI models that sort of show propensity in that way. So it should be a really easy way to start the conversation. So this is what you get from Sherweb. We're always here to help. I highly recommend you reach out, and we would definitely love to walk you through this process and help you prospect. So there's a lot of good resources. Microsoft has some really good resources I recommend for preparing your pitch. There's a lot of cool, stay there, buddy. You can use some of their cool, fun facts. It's very good to have these these data points that help give you some credibility with the client, right? It helps them understand, you know, what the stakes are and how there's a lot of research behind these ideas that you're bringing them. So you can maybe give them a pitch that puts them in a context of companies like them, right? So here's a bit of the spiel that I'll give you on the next one here. So how to do more with less, right? You're gonna hear customers asking about things. They want to simplify, automate, secure routine tasks and processes. So you can ask them questions like, where are you experiencing backlogs? Where are you getting customer complaints? Where are you having cost overruns? Basically, where's the opportunity to improve the way you're doing things today, rather than, you know, completely overhaul everything? Let's tweak. You can add value to their existing M365, D365 investments, right? You can say, you know, where do your employees communicate and collaborate? Where does work actually get done? And are there any existing solutions that they're not adopting properly, right? Is stuff happening, is stuff that should be happening in Teams happening too much over email, Can we add some apps to Teams that would help folks get things done faster rather than going back and forth by email? Let's optimize the way they work and interact. Then you can work with other Azure services for app modernization and low-cost development as well. So think about what are the existing apps? Can we just, rather than throw it out, can we use Power Platform to modernize some of your current investments? Where are your employees forced to come up with workarounds for systems that don't do the trick anymore? How much does app maintenance cost you, right? Are you seeing that number go up? Then you can start to justify some using Power Apps to lower that recurring cost. So these are some sales plays that Microsoft recommends. I always say take this with a grain of salt, but there's a lot of good materials in here that you can tailor for your clients. So you may just want to start with the use rights for Power Apps and Power Automate that come with your Office 365, Microsoft 365 licenses, right? So you can use these for free to connect to M365 data sources. So anything SharePoint, anything OneDrive, anything Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Bookings, it's all included and you don't need a separate license. So that's a great example of doing more with less. And it's a great way to get started. If you have D365 customers really similar, you can make apps extending the existing Dynamics products without needing an additional license. So very, very cool stuff. And then, from there, they may want to build premium apps, and then that's a motion that you can take. Then it's a bit more of an advanced use case to if you're using Power Apps and Power Automate to start working in SAP or Salesforce, other stuff like that. If you want to do Power Apps on Azure, this is when you get a little bit more advanced, and you might find some really cool use cases connecting some of those other enterprise apps. You'll hear some objections. These things happen all the time. This is I won't go through it too much right now, but maybe we'll suggest that you take this away as a bit of a conversation guide. You're going to hear we have too many apps already. I don't want to lose control of IT and governance. I think Preston will have more to say about that. And I don't have enough development resources in my organization. I don't have time for change management and training. Yeah, I think ultimately nobody complains about technology that makes their job easier. So I think you need to prove the value. Sometimes you need to go in slow, do a proof of concept, and not try to do too much. The great thing, of course, with M365, Azure, Active Directory, all that, it provides all the guardrails you need for access. So you can control which apps are published, and then so compare that to spreadsheets. It's a whole different thing. If you actually do want to prevent data loss, you're better to use Power Platform. So save time on low code, save time with low code, save money. Change management and training are not such big investments when you have power users who are working alongside you to make the app a reality. It's not always going away to the laboratory and then rolling out something to the broader population. It can be a lot more iterative than that. So this is just a small example of the templates that are out there for you to jump into. This is all free, exists already. When you go into make.powerapps.com, you can jump right into these and start building apps. It's essentially, you can just customize these for your clients and roll them out right away. Once they like it, they might ask you for a more advanced use case. Jump right in, right? So let's move over to Ogo. Ogo, I'm going to move the slides ahead for you. So just let me know when you're ready for that, and I'll let you jump in and tell your story.
All right. Confirm you can hear me.
I can hear you.
All right, awesome. So if you can move to the first slide. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Colin. My name is Ogo, and I'll be sharing today how we frame Power Platform opportunities here at Intelbyte to create solutions for our clients in these key 5 areas. If you can move to the next slide, Colin. Okay, yeah, like I said, my name is Ogo. I'm a co-founder here at Intelbyte. We are a Microsoft partner that's dedicated to the energy mining and construction verticals. My personal background is in the oil and gas industry. Have over 10 years of experience solving business challenges that the energy industry faces when it comes to streamlining workflows, processes, implementing strategic plans, or even driving growth. We founded Intelbyte about last year, still new, really based around the principles of simplification, automation, and scalable digital transformation. Like we realized that technology does have the power to simplify, to automate, to transform the way we work. And we like to say it's not just about creating apps, but about creating solutions that actually have a meaningful impact and transforms the way our clients does business. We try to drive productivity, efficiency, profitability, all the things that Colin has mentioned. I'm excited to show you how Power Apps can revolutionize the business of your clients. So Colin, if you can move to the next slide, let's get started. Okay, so in Colin's presentation, he discussed how companies with about 120 users that don't have mature processes can actually benefit from Power Apps solutions. If we take a closer look on some specific workflows like we've identified here, the first one is asset management. Keeping track of assets for a business can be challenging, especially when the business is spread across multiple locations. And with the Power Platform, you can easily manage and track these assets, including the location, the condition, the maintenance history. We can have all that in one centralized systems, and businesses can actually save time and money or reduce the risk of misplaced assets, improve their maintenance and repair processes, and also streamlining inventory management. For inspections and audits, which is the second one there on the right hand side, these are important workflows for businesses that I have to comply with regulations and ensure that the safety of their workers and customers are kept in line with regulations. So Power Apps can actually help you create standardized forms that can be accessed, completed on a mobile device, and this will help reduce the risk of errors, improve accuracy of your data, and you can store data in a centralized database and make it easier for people to track and for compliance to actually happen if there are any safety issues. Calculating and transforming data is also something that's very important for businesses. Data can be transformed into visualizations and reports that actually make it easier for businesses to communicate with stakeholders and to make informed decisions. For example, you could have a dashboard that will show real-time key performance indicators that will help you identify trends or spot potential issues, and then businesses can actually make data-driven decisions. The last one there is approval and workflow. We know that approval and workflow can be a major bottleneck for businesses as they start to hit that 150 employees. And Power Apps can help you create a streamlined workflow that would automate the approval process, with notifications and reminders for the approver. And this can actually help business to free up time for the team to focus on more important tasks and progress approvals through the stages, ensuring that nothing falls through the cracks. Microsoft actually has a bigger, longer list of business workflows that can be transformed, using Power Apps. It's something that we can discuss some more in detail. But these 4 here are those that we have found to be, very, very important workflows that you can start working on businesses to transform. Next slide, Colin. And now we've seen some examples of some business workflows that can be transformed. But the question is, how do you drive that transformation for the customers to ensure that the solution that you're providing is not just effective, but it's also sustainable and it's also scalable? And we have found that the Microsoft Catalyst and IDEA framework has been very, very helpful in doing this. The IDEA framework takes the customers through curative phases of inspire, design, empower, and achieve. And by following this process, businesses can actually unlock the potential of their digital investments and drive lasting change in the business. Businesses can imagine a future state for their organization through an envisioning workshop where they can explore and identify opportunities for digital transformation. And then you move on to the design phase where you do a value assessment and a solution assessment. And this will help the business to align, this technology, Dynamic 365, Microsoft 365, to their investments and their business goals. And following that, you can perform a solution demonstration to the key stakeholders in the organization. And this would lead to a deal crafted proposal that will be tailored to meet the specific needs of the business in the achieve phase. One of the key benefits of the idea framework, obviously, is that you can scale this up and scale it down. But we have seen that the envisioning workshop, especially, although it's early in the sales cycle, it's a key contributor to success because it helps to create like an agreed set of solutions and priorities very early in the sales cycles for the clients. Colin, if you can move on to the next 2 slides now. So now that we've seen the idea framework, we are going to talk about how we have helped drive successful transformation. This is a case study of what we carried out for a Calgary-based freight company. The challenge was to automate the package management process to improve efficiency, accuracy for the customer. And to achieve this, we worked with the customer, understood their goals, their pain points, envisioned that future state for the business that helped them understand what they really wanted to achieve. And then we crafted a proposal to align with these desired business outcomes. We used Power Apps to create a solution that could automate package tracking management, enabling like real-time updates and notifications for the customers, as well as their internal stakeholders. The solution automated package pickup notifications. It also provided frontline workers with an interface to collect outbound package data, and it automatically generated shipping manifests, right? The solution was streamlined to reduce manual errors and also improve customer satisfaction. The impact is that we've seen that the business is able to send out notifications, which would previously take hours. They had a lot of times when things would change in between the customers' goods coming in that they needed to notify the customers. You had customers showing up, not finding their things, or you had customers not showing up when their things arrived. So it eliminated all those delays and actually improved customer satisfaction. Paper forms were totally eliminated for outbound packages, and this reduced the risks of errors, saving time and process for the company. The business process that I'd like to highlight here is asset management and also workflow management. This is just an example of one way that you can actually transform a customer's business using Power Apps. Colin, if you can move to the next slide, please.
Perfect.
And then this next slide is a package IP solution called Pilot HSE that we are rolling out very soon on the App Store. As many of you know, many businesses that operate in the energy and the construction sector, they're exposed to a number of personal, process, operational, and regulatory risks, and these risks can be costly. And so Pilot HSE comes in where we have designed an app that will support businesses to manage this operational safety and regulatory concerns. We are leveraging the Power Platform to enable these digital transformations. It's important to note that there are actually solutions out there that already exist that does safety management. But one thing I'd like to highlight here, Colin said, is when you have companies that are around that 120 and 150 users, they find that these big solutions are often designed too big for them to use. They are often designed on legacy systems, and it's difficult to extend the capability of the system to integrate with other platforms, and that becomes a prime opportunity for you to step in and help create these quick go-to-market solutions that the clients can actually use to solve their problems without needing a big IP solution. And this leaves many businesses that would rely on like paper documents and Microsoft 365 products. Say they're using Word and they're using Excel and they're using Outlook. Being able to integrate all these things is what we are going to achieve with Pilot. For example, there are most of these businesses in the construction industry, they need to have a safety certificate of recognition. And this core recognition is actually an audit process that can be very, very time consuming for many businesses. If you run a paper-based system, the audits can be very, very difficult. And so with Pilot HSE, we'll be able to assist with the audit. We'll be able to generate queries, generate flows that produce these audit results, and makes preparation, documentation, tracking, and the certification process to be a lot more smoother. Now, Colin, if you can move on to the next 2 slides. And finally, I'd like to talk about strategic partnerships and which is kind of what we're doing here. And different Microsoft partners with different specializations can actually form good partnerships and deliver solutions that will actually help our clients. Microsoft recommends a three-stage process for this: getting ready in the first stage, connecting in the second stage, and in the third stage, growing together. If you are a Dynamics 365 partner, it's possible, that there are business opportunities where your clients would require Power Platform solutions. And by working strategic partnership, it would be good for us to deliver integrated, scalable, and multifaceted solutions to our clients across in the industry. That's really all from me today. Thank you for having us, Colin. We are really grateful to Sherweb for providing the opportunity to share what you do and to be able to connect with other partners.
Thank you so much, Ogo. I'm just going to leave this up for a second. If anybody wants to get in touch right now, we'll also we'll share these slides after the fact so that everybody can have a look and kind of refresh themselves on your story. Really appreciate you taking the time to tell us about the work you're doing. Thank you so much. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I think you guys are going to be getting a really good vision of this from hearing Ogo and Preston speak. But I'll just very, very quickly make you aware, kind of put this in the back of your head. There's a ton of growth for modern work partners. And I think Power Platform is a really great tool for MSPs because, you don't necessarily, there's the licensing opportunity. There's always a licensing opportunity, especially with Power BI. The more they adopt Power Apps, the more of a licensing opportunity it becomes. But there's also an opportunity to add value through services. And it doesn't have to be a giant project. It doesn't have to be 5-6 figures in order to make an impact, right? This can be a way for you to show value in some of the banks of hours that you sell every month. This is work that you can do with your customers to help you be visible, adding value day in and day out. So just think about these as some of your starting off points. These are some suggestions that we've had, and I think there's a lot that you can do just starting in some of these. SharePoint is a huge one. And I'll remind you that it doesn't require any kind of premium license to make a SharePoint app or do a SharePoint, automate some processes coming out of SharePoint. That's an included connector. So you can do a lot with that, and you can actually you can get a lot done just by making better use of SharePoint. You can also do more with Outlook. Think about just notifications, making sure people are contacted when their action is needed. Extend Teams functionality, just improve that collaboration, help people do more of their work in one central place. And then Dataverse for Teams is really similar. You can build custom apps, bots, and workflows that are right there where people work. Then you can get into other data sources. There's plenty out there. You can modernize InfoPath forms. Think about doing that. Anything with a form can be a Power App, and it's some of the easiest there's some of the easiest Power Apps to make. So this is all stuff that doesn't need any particular expertise that you don't already have. This is all stuff that's right in your zone as an MSP. So just think about who on your team maybe whose time could be put to better use. And it doesn't need to be a developer, right? It just needs to be somebody. You can have somebody with a systems mindset, and all of a sudden, I think you're going to see customer satisfaction go up. You're going to see your clients helping your employees turn stuff around, rather than, like I was saying, go off to the laboratory and come back with something that may not match their actual use case. You can extend existing solutions. That's key to the do more with less kind of message, right? Instead of buying a whole new system, let's see how we can extend, optimize, automate some of the existing stuff. This is all part of a new service. This is all part of adding to your value, your service that you provide. This can become very much a managed service. As you know their processes and their apps, it becomes a lot harder to go to somebody else because you helped them create all this. You didn't just sell them the licenses, you helped them get better. And that makes you stickier in the long run, I think. Now I'm going to turn it over to Preston. I've been looking forward to both of our guest speakers, and I think you're going to get a great vision of where you can go with Power Apps. So without further ado, Preston, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Colin. Appreciate it. Yeah, so if you can jump over to the next slide. My name is Preston Hefferly. I am the Director of Business Development here at Convverge. I've been in the energy industry for about 10 years now. I've been 8 years with Microsoft, certified in things like Teams Admin, Viva Insights, and really just around that modern work platform and bringing to market and bringing to clients that change and that adoption into things like modern work. Next one, Colin. So here at Convverge, we are a certified Microsoft Gold partner, specializing in modern work. As you can see, we've listed out a bunch of our team certificates. What this does for us is this gives us that reputability when we are in with our clients to be able to show them that we know what we're talking about, we know what we're doing, and all of these things allow us to continue to use the platform and develop it, grow within an organization so that they can take it, nurture it, mature it as they continue to move forward.
And you guys have, I'm just seeing here, you guys have certifications across the Microsoft cloud too, which is
across the stack. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll take you guys through just sort of what our vision is. So we've been in business for just over 10 years, headquartered here in Calgary. We've got offices in Vancouver and Toronto. Our mandate and our focus is on an open and honest, practical working style. We like to take the idea of we want to teach you how to fish. So that's what we're bringing to our clients and to the market. We're a team of about 25 people right now. We are growing at a rapid pace, as we continue to tap into this market and see really what Microsoft's doing, especially as they further develop things like Viva and ChatGPT and all of those other things that kind of become the new and sexy in the area. Our other big piece with this is we're ensuring that you're always sort of taking the most out of your value and your opportunities. Colin had spoken to it, that there's a lot of free that's included with Power Apps. There's a lot of free that's included in Power Automate that companies just aren't necessarily taking advantage of, and they're not necessarily looking at what is readily available today without having to go into a premium connector or a premium licensing. Next. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of an idea as to how Convverge got started with Power Apps. So Convverge leadership did see the opportunity that Microsoft had created when Power Apps and sort of the Power Platform kind of poked its head into the market many, many years ago, kind of pushing the idea of citizen developer. Our leadership team was able to sort of acknowledge that citizen development's kind of been around for years. A lot of these companies, they've got the Excel V1 sort of citizen developer when people were writing VBA scripts and macros and all of those things that your IT department kind of got saddled with as people left the organization, which then jumped into Access, where more and more we're creating these Access databases and these business critical tools without looking at, you know, the governance and the infrastructure in place to be able to actually support these things path forward. So we wanted to get onto sort of the early adopters piece with Power Apps. We specifically targeted Microsoft and dove in both feet as a solutions partner. We do not look at other avenues like things in the AWS space or things in the Google space. We are perfectly positioned with a Microsoft piece, as we believe that it is the most holistic package within the industry today. We started, like most, with SharePoint and modern work. So things like Teams, as we went through the pandemic, SharePoint and intranet design, collaboration, and that's really blossomed into the Power Platform and Biz Apps, whereas we look at taking things to the next level. So moving on to the next one. So what I've got here is I've got a couple, just like I'll go there, we've got a couple of examples as to what we've built. So we've got a custom CRM solution, and Colin kind of touched on this. There's a lot of organizations out there today that that don't like the price tag or the deployment time of something like Dynamics or Salesforce or SAP. So what we've created is a custom CRM solution in Power Apps. It is a Canvas-driven app, and this is for our healthcare solutions business. Our clients, about 100 to 125 people, got a revenue just over $10 million. And what they were really looking for was essentially a digital Rolodex. They were looking for a way to store all of their information for all of their clients so that every sales rep in the organization had the same. Everything was tracked, everything was logged. That way they could see everything from a holistic view, and they're not relying upon hundreds and hundreds of emails and OneNote sharing and all those sort of things. So in a combination of Power Apps, Power Automate, the Common Data Service or Dataverse, and Office 365, we were able to give them what we've kind of coined as a CRM Lite. So at a fraction of the cost of something like Dynamics or SAP or something along those lines, we were able to give them that tooling that's allowing them to be more effective in the field.
And just a small question about this, Preston.
Fire away.
What? Just curious, like, because I've seen this use case before. I think it's got a lot of legs. What in terms of, they needed a CRM Lite. This is obviously a good fit. What does their roadmap look like for the future? Do they see themselves eventually adopting something, or are they going to try and stick with this for as long as they can for CRM?
That's a really good question. We've had both. We've had both conversations with them around what does a full CRM implementation or an ERP implementation look like as they continue to grow their business. The company is uniquely positioned to have several acquisitions over the next couple of years, which may intake that as their sort of stance is today. They want to be as nimble and agile as humanly possible, and a robust CRM and ERP does not allow you to do that. This allows them to be dynamic and change as they go forward. So as it stands today,
as they plan to, and keep their costs reasonable as they make changes.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And from an implementation piece, path forward, we're talking to them about just extra add-ons, a little bit of bolt-ons, some automation, some new form intake and things along those lines, then customer voice within Dynamics 365 to be able to touch a bit of the Dynamics world while not having to dive both feet in.
And if they decide to back into us to D365 sales, it will not be a big leap.
Not at all. It'll go straight over with them. So we're kind of giving them the sample today.
Nice. Thanks.
Excellent, sir. So if I can get you to go to the next slide for me, Colin, if you don't mind.
Did it not go?
There we go. Oh, I just got it on my side. So big hot button topic that we're hearing a lot of, especially coming out of the pandemic, is RPA and process automation. We have a ton of clients that are looking to see how they can get rid of some of the work that maybe they weren't doing throughout the pandemic because they couldn't be in office or they weren't around or they simply had to downsize due to the economic conditions. A lot are looking at things like RPA and Power Automate Desktop. And what we're seeing and what some of our clients have done, specifically this one here, we've got a real estate developer out of Vancouver, industry obviously construction, about 500 employees, revenue of about $50 million a year. They were looking for a way to automate in their functionality of moving PDF documents to their SharePoint site, eliminating the manual data handling of their documentation and being able to bring all of that information over without having somebody out there, hand scribing. So what we were able to do with the RPA engine in partnership with some Azure Cognitive Services, we were able to scrape and grab that information, drop it into SharePoint lists and SharePoint sites to be able to handle that documentation path forward. So this was all things that through the pandemic they weren't able to do because they couldn't be on site and they couldn't be around. So they had to create sort of digital processes as a Band-Aid fix to get them through. And thankfully, like most organizations, they're looking to make those Band-Aid fixes a little bit more robust and a little bit more permanent. And something like Power Automate Desktop lends a massive cost savings efficiency to them versus other RPA solutions in the industry like Blue Prism, where we're looking at a fraction of the dev time, a fraction of the licensing time, while maintaining the full consistency.
And I'm gonna ask you a leading question.
Please.
Was this done all with purely Microsoft?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So that means that you're not buying a separate product for document reading or none of that stuff. Like it's all the
It's all
Power
included
Apps.
in a suite. 100%.
Yeah, very.
Sweet. And then we'll move on to my last one here I've got for everybody. So this is a true app, or a true power app that we've built. We've kind of coined it as the Storm Tracker app. This is for a power and utility
Nice.
service provider out on the coast. About 500 employees, again, revenue of about 50 million. What these guys were faced with, and we were able to sort of use the entire gamut of the power platform here, is they were faced with some challenges around connecting their contractors quickly during an emergency. So if we want to talk power lines and things like that, if a line goes down, they wanted to be able to blast out to all of their technicians in the area to see if somebody could get out and work on those things. This was typically a challenge, as they were kind of relying on things like text messages and emails and phone calls and an outstanding database that wasn't instantaneous and wasn't immediate. So what we were able to do is we were able to use PVA, or Power Virtual Agents, and the bot technology within Power Automate Desktop, coupled with Twilio, to send automated texts out to the contractors. So this allowed them to opt in to coming into the work, going out. It was booking it in the system for them through the Power Apps and Power Automate. So it was allowing this all to sort of be a one continuous process at the click of a button to say there is a storm in X location, hit all of the people in this area, and it was able to run out and grab that. So by doing that through PVA or virtual agents, we're able to then adapt as people were responding to say, I'm not in that area, I'm not here, I'm not that, and we can update their database while not having to rely on, well, Mike over in the corner here knows that Ted is now the guy over there. So reduce the downtime on the electrical grid, which obviously made a huge bonus to everyone in that electrical grid, let alone these guys who had to get it back up and running.
Absolutely.
So
and, I just wanted to quickly point something out here, because I noticed you and Ogo were both using, have both had use cases where you connected with Twilio. I believe that's a standard connector, right? That, not a standard connector, but like a pre-built connector that is maintained by Microsoft, right? Like that doesn't require any kind of API management.
Not at all. Not at all. So Microsoft has hundreds, if not close to thousands worth of connectors into very popular services across all facets of business today. And if you can leverage it, they're there. And we're continuing to see more and more as companies are seeing the breadth of this platform coming to market with native connectors and things that we wouldn't have seen before, like SAP. SAP now coming to market with native connectors, which makes Microsoft a direct competition, but they understand what this platform's doing and where it's going.
Correct.
It's insanely effective how many connectors are just ready for you out of the box.
Absolutely.
It's a real wanted to highlight. Sorry, Preston.
No, appreciate it. Absolutely appreciate it. So going on to sort of my closeout here with you guys. We can move on to the next one, Colin. There we go. So what are we doing next?
Lagging on me.
That's okay. What are we doing next? Where's Convverge going? So again, we're going to be leveraging that Microsoft relationship with SAP to build more user-friendly front-end applications in the Power Platform. We're diving big into Microsoft Viva. In our opinion, that's sort of the next wave of application focus coming from Microsoft, as we're seeing more things like Viva Insights and Viva Engage, and as they start to bring in more application suites into there and making it a bit more robust, like Yammer coming out as its own platform now coming into the Viva suite. That's going to be a massive focus for modern work path forward for the organizations out there. And then we're going to be shifting our focus from showing you how to fish to teaching you how to fish, really taking a dive into the governance. And our tagline to this is sort of democratize the technology and empower your organization. I come out of the IT world where I owned the Microsoft suite. I was scared out of my mind for Power Platform because I didn't know what people were going to do with it, because I had InfoPath running rampant in my organization. I had Excel VBA scripts running rampant. I didn't know what that was going to entail. So we're taking a big focus on trying to teach and show individuals how they can put the right boundaries around things like the Power Platform so that they can truly empower their organization and take the keys fully, not fully, but take some of the responsibility away from the IT department to always be driving the change in an organization and allow the people closest to the problem to do it. That's my presentation. I appreciate it.
I love it. Thank you, Preston. I honestly, I think of, Power Platform truly is the democratizing data and technology in a sense that wasn't possible before. It makes me think of like an actual democratic society where, you know, if you want to have freedom, you have to have responsibility also, right? Like you have to have you know, like the police and laws and everything to you know, actually have a free society where people can do what they need to do and maximize their potential. And so what you're doing is what this does is allows you to put real guardrails around what people are able to do so that they can actually do more instead of just endangering the company with their attempts at innovation. It's a real win-win for IT and for end users, power users.
Completely agree.
So that leaves us to Q&A. We're kind of at time. I really appreciate everybody coming out. I highly recommend that everybody get in touch with Ogo and Preston if you would like to learn more about the work that they're doing. I know that they're really keen to, you know, make new connections. If you think of questions, highly recommend that you contact your Sherweb team. As well. We're always happy to help. And I think we should send you these slides afterwards because there's tons to go over, and then you have everybody's contact information as well. Ogo and Preston, is there anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
I'm good. I appreciate the time, and I'm hoping that what I said was helpful.
I loved both of your presentations. I can't thank you both enough for sharing your experience and giving everybody a view of where you came from and where you're going. I think you guys are like cardinal examples of where Power Apps can take your MSPs and VARs alike. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Colin.
With that, I will close out and say thank you everybody for attending. We're so glad to have you, and keep an eye out for the slides.